Oh my god, Sidestand. Haha. Oh my god, the Sidestand thing. Can you have worse timing? Jesus Christ. Nice. Yeah, it feels good. Again. All right, I am here at Hungry Valley again. I'm here for two reasons. One reason is that I'm on new tires, the Mitas Enduro Trail XT Plus, the Dakar variant, and I'm really curious to feel out what they feel like in the sand. The other reason is that a couple of trails have opened up. When I say opened up, I mean it's only been partially open, Hungry Valley, since the fire, and they just recently announced, didn't carry enough speed there, another couple of trails are opening up, so I might give those a shot. Is that maybe where that trail is? I'm gonna have to check, read the sign next time. There's like Gorman Trail, and I believe it is in Powerline Road, so I might end up checking them out.
I'll be doing Powerline Road in a different video, probably the next video on the channel.
I've been riding these tires, I shouldn't say I have been. I had one ride on sort of dirt roads, hard to pack dirt roads. They felt fine, but it was hard to tell that much of a difference, which wasn't that surprising. So, hence being very interested in feeling them out in more difficult terrain, and very specifically sand. Okay, let me check. This might be the Gorman Trail start, or it might not. Roadrunner Gorman, yes. It's supposed to be a black trail, so the most difficult kind. Kind of curious to try it. We'll see though if I do. I may not. And just head to the Powerline instead, which is a green trail. Feels good to be back in kind of technical terrain. Not that this is too bad, but I've been riding basically dirt roads for a few outings here. Most recently yesterday, and then a couple of times before that, just joining group rides. Okay, so far I feel like the sand feels fine. Maybe a little bit less sliding around with the rear in particular, but we'll see when we come to the sand wash how it feels. The previous tires, I forgot to say, were the Trail Max Raids. So they were somewhat aggressive for off-roading, but not that aggressive. I think 50-50-ish or 40-60, whatever. These ones are more 20-80 off-road. One of the reasons I switched them out, aside from wanting to try them in the sand, is also that the Trail Max Raids are pretty soft, so I don't think that they're particularly puncture resistant, whereas these should be quite puncture resistant. Nothing is ever a guarantee, it's just nice to minimize the chances and or frequency of having a flat. I haven't had a flat yet while off-road, only had it on the street, but it's gonna happen sooner or later. Coming up on the sand wash in a little bit, we'll see what it feels like. Definitely feel like I have more traction when it's sandy in terms of power. I'm not sure about the front yet, if it actually feels more stable or not. Here we go with some deeper stuff. Oh my god, Sidestand. I was just about to start commenting on the tires. And then we go with the Sidestand sensor. Well, I guess we're gonna see if it's gonna get easier to start, given that I was just involuntarily stopped by the Sidestand sensor. I wasn't going to try to turn around without paddling. Whew. All right, let's see if the Sidestand issue happens again. The last time this was happening was also in a sandy environment at El Mirage, and I was like super annoyed. So I have zip ties with me, but since then I hadn't had the issue again until now. So I don't know what is causing that to happen sometimes and sometimes not. I don't know how sand could do it. So yeah. I'd say it does feel noticeably better, as if the sand is a little less deep, kind of, compared to the Trail Max Raid. I don't know that it's a huge difference though, which is kind of what I expected. I didn't really expect there to be like a huge black and like night and day difference. But I do think that there's a difference, especially in terms of traction in the rear and getting going. The front, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. It's not worse for sure. I don't know if it's noticeably better or not. I wonder if this is one of those things where if I go back to the Trail Max Raid, I would notice it more. Like sometimes when it gets better, it's not as obvious, but if you go to something that's worse, it becomes more obvious. I don't know if this is one of those things or not. It's been like a few weeks since I rode in sand, which is unfortunate. I was hoping to sort of do it almost like one day sand with the Trail Max Raid, one day sand with the new tires, but it didn't work out like that. Yeah, I think the difference with the front, perhaps not surprisingly, is a little bit more noticeable when you're turning, like cornering and things like that in sandy environments. Maybe when I'm just going forward, it doesn't matter as much because it's you're just going straight ahead anyway, and you're not relying as much on traction, and you're just leaning a little bit to slightly change your direction. Whereas if you're actually cornering, I mean, I say cornering, it's fairly simple cornering, but at least cornering in sand, then it's a little bit more affected, I think, by the front tire. And I do feel like it's feeling less slidey. I feel like I'm sliding around less. But it's possible I'm imagining it. I don't think so though. I think it's fairly pronounced. the way that feels, like just the corner that I just went through, for example. I should point out, by the way, I'm still on street pressures. I'm not airing down. Don't, you know, feel free to complain down below that I'm not airing down. I am eventually going to try that properly. Just go through a bunch of sand, air down, try again, watch the difference. Probably not today, but I am going to try that. But for now, my goal isn't to be as good as possible in sand. My goal is to compare the tires. I want to sort of get a feel for how much of a difference it makes. But yeah, I haven't had the front feel like it's sort of about to tuck yet. But it's, you know, who knows? Maybe I'm riding differently because I spent a bunch of time riding on dirt roads, so like I'm not used to sand. Who knows? It's hard to be sure. We're about to come up to a very sandy turn. We'll see how that feels. Okay, I've dropped it a few times in this upcoming turn. Let's see what happens. Oh my god, the fucking Sidestand thing. Can you have worse timing? Jesus Christ. Okay. Like I wasn't even bumping. I wasn't even like this is so frustrating. What is causing that to happen? Sometimes, but not others. I don't know. Zip tie is coming on soon. I mean, first gear, which is not the best. I think, especially with the first gear, felt pretty in control. Let's see about the rest of this trail. Sidestand. The zip tie is coming on to that Sidestand. Let me know in the comments, like, if you can figure out why I have Sidestand sort of coming down a little bit when I'm riding in sand, but not otherwise. Given that sand is soft, I'm not bouncing up and down. Like, what is happening? Anybody have a good idea? Because I have no clue at this point. There we go. Hopefully that's the end of that problem. Yeah, I'm getting more and more convinced, like, when you're turning, the difference here makes a lot more of a difference. I still haven't really had a single time where I felt like the front was about to tuck and I had to get out of it, throttling out of it or something like that. I don't think so anyway. Definitely feels more stable. Cool. I finally have that comparison done. Not that that says everything, but I have just been curious about it for a while, having ridden sand on mostly sort of 50-50, like Trail Max Mission on a GS a few times, and the Trail Max Raid on this bike. I just wanted to feel what it's like with more aggressive tires. Nice. Yeah, it feels good. Again, I don't know. Is it just the tires? Have I grown a little bit since I was last here? I don't know. It feels good. Going by memory. Hopefully I don't get lost. I have my phone and everything, so it's not like I'm actually going to get lost, but it's nice to just be able to ride through and know your way around enough that you're not stopping all the time and checking maps. Part of it is also that by now I feel much more comfortable that I'm not going to get into some terrain that I'm not okay to handle. I don't know about those single tracks. Like, I still don't know if I'm going to take that Gorman Trail But in terms of just these fire roads, whatever, there's a limit to how insane things are gonna get if I were to take the wrong turn or whatever.
Overall, I'm really happy with the tires. They are certainly obviously knobby at highway speeds. They do wobble around a little bit and shake the front a little bit, much less streamlined for highway riding than the Trail Max Raids. If that's really important to you, Trail Max Raids offer a much better trade-off in that sense. But it's good enough. I don't mind it, and it's quite tangibly better off-road. So I'm really happy with the purchase. I'll probably keep running these tires for a while longer, or rather, going forward until I have some reason to switch.